gentlemen, welcome to the American Sim Racing Association, otherwise known as ASRA, and we are racing here tonight in the 36 Sprint Car Fix Series. We've got a lot of heats lined up and ready for you tonight. We've got ourselves the 36 Sprint Cars racing right now, and then once they're done after their featured race, we're going to have the 41 Outlaw Sprint Open set up, guys, and they're going to be putting on even a better show. With me here tonight, my name is Sam Dyer. With me tonight is Anthony McCurry. And Anthony, we get to watch some dirt track racing, and these drivers, they're ready to tear it up out here in Knoxville.
Oh yeah, it's a really fast track, it's a slick track, a wet track tonight here in Knoxville. These cars are going to be wicked fast, bang doors going across this racetrack. I'm excited to watch tonight's race. It's going to be awesome for sure.
We're going to have a lot of heats set up for these drivers to get going. We've got 6 laps, 6 drivers out and ready to go. The top 4 get to move on to the featured race. And the featured race is going to be 30 laps here at Knoxville. And throughout the night, the track is going to evolve. These drivers that are racing in heat number 1, when they get back out there, the track is going to be completely different. We're already seeing a little bit of dryness coming up in the entry of these corners and in the center. It's going to be evolving throughout the night. But Anthony, we're going to do a quick rundown of these drivers. Heat number 1, these drivers, they've got a lot on their minds. They've got to stay clean, and they've got to be up front.
Indeed they do. In the beginning of this race, or beginning of this heat, it's going to be chaotic at the start. A rundown of who's in this heat. The 073 of C. Robbins is going to line up on the first position. Then you have Clifford Driscoll, Terry Bauman, Brian Beach, and Cody Olson are going to be taking the start for this heat. Sean Bowers did not get on track. He will not be in this heat. So only 5 cars in this heat, meaning that 4 of these drivers will continue, but 1 will get cut out. And right now, if the race were to end before it started, that'd be Olson. So Olson's got to get to the front. But again, it's going to be a quick heat race, only 6 laps. So you got to prove yourself in these 6 laps.
Pace car is off. Green flag out in the air. And it's going to be Robin leading the way, as well as Driscoll is on the outside. Robin not digging it in deep. Here, they're going to be side by side for second place. Everyone else single filing it out.
Olson got into the back of him. I think that was Bauman on the start. Bauman's actually got a bit of a problem. He's on the inside line, slipping through the turn. On the outside, there goes Driscoll to the lead. Give the lead to the 63. He's pulling his way up. Now on the inside, that inside does not seem to be sticky here tonight, as everyone seems to be drifting around the outside. That seems to be the best way to go, as now Beach has gotten around Robbins for the the second position. Now Robbins under fire from Olson.
Coming to 3 laps, being put down. It's contact there for 3rd place. It's Robin as well as Bauman making a little bit of contact there, and Robin going to be upside down out of the race. And now we know who our top 4 are. They just got to run clean and not make any more contact.
That was the worst thing that could have happened for Robbins. He had a good run. He ends up on his side out of the race. Now, like you said, these 4 drivers left. All they got to do is cruise around, and they're moving on to the next round. Tough break for that. Driscoll is still the leader. Beach hunting him down. Does he go for a win, or do you think he settles in, knowing that he's clear?
Right now, I think a lot of these drivers are just going to settle in. But since this is heat number 1, this is for the podium. This is for the pole position for these drivers for the featured race. So you might be seeing Beach trying to make a move here to possibly go for the win, but it might be on the final lap, as we're on the white lap now, as it's going to be Driscoll and Beach 1-2.
Indeed it is, and as they come through this final turn, we go down the backstretch for the final time. What can Driscoll do? What can Driscoll do as he holds off Beach? Beach trying to power it through. Not going to have anything for Driscoll. Driscoll, I believe, will take heat number 1.
Clifford Driscoll in the 63 machine wins heat number 1, and that's a great starting point for the night. Remember, these are the 360 sprint cars that these drivers are going to be working with, as now we're getting set up for our second heat of the night. And I mean, already there had drama with drivers making contact, as Bauman as well as Robin making contact there. Robin not able to finish it out, so he'll be waiting to see if he's going to have to make another move in our B heat, or we'll be moving on if we just don't have enough drivers. But Anthony, our second heat, they're getting set up. Let's do another rundown.
Starting on pole for this race will be the 098 of Matt Miller. He will be in the lead, or he'll be on pole position. Then you have second place Rick Gibson. The 44 of Scott Monksgard will be in 3rd. Then Brian Hogue in the 4th position. Jason Minette will be running in the 5th. and then Dalton Collins will be starting 6th. All 6 drivers on track for this heat. So 4 spots up for grab, just like all these other all the heats tonight will be 4 spots up to grab. 2 drivers will not be advancing, or they will have to go to the B heat.
Yeah, that's something we saw right there in the first heat. That's something for us to keep on watching, is that the high line is already being put in and showing that that is the lane you want to be in to moving quick, but you also got to utilize the inside line, do a little bit of a slide job if you want to make these passes to be made. Now, all the heats, they were randomly put down. All the drivers did not qualify for these heats, so randomly selected is where the drivers are in these heats. Now, heat number 2, the winner of this race will be placed second place in the row for a featured race. So there's still a lot of drivers are going to be hunting for that win here today, but mainly it's about being in the top 4.
Indeed it is. If you're not in the top 4, then you don't even have a chance to take the win in the main tonight. Hopefully that all these drivers will keep it clean. Although I don't think that that's going to be the case, as all these drivers are hoping to get in, and they will try to do so by any means possible. We're waiting for the green flag to start heat number 2.
Green flag back out in the air. It's going to be Matt Miller, Rick Gibson leading the way. We'll see drivers. They're 3 wide for the second place. Contact being made. Shove it out in the outside wall. And oh my goodness, Collins out of this. Hogue as well. And we already know who the top 4 are. They just got to stay clean as well.
That was a scary wreck that happened in turn number 2. It looks like that Minette and Collins got contact. That was Hogue and Collins contact up into the wall. And one of them ended up in the catch fence. Something scary happening. But these 4 drivers, if they can keep it clean, like you said, they're moving on. Right now, there's a battle going on between the 2nd and 3rd place position. That is, I believe that's Muscard and Collins. Who's that running there?
Running there for 3rd place, it's going to be Minette as well as Miller for 2nd place. Yeah, they're battling there for 2nd place. That's now 3 laps. Oh no, into the wall. It's going to be Miller. Hard again into the inside wall. As Miller out of this thing.
Wow, 3 drivers out of heat number 2. They're all on pit road now. If Hogue or Miller can get back out, or if Hogue or Collins can get back out, they might have a chance. I don't think there's enough time as we're closing in on the end of this race. 3 cars still running around. Gibson holds the lead, but Minette wants it. He's driving it in deep, trying to make up the time.
2 laps to go when they cross the line, come to the white flag, and Minette digging it deep. He's really digging it into turn number 3, coming out of 4. Will he keep that momentum? As white flag now in the air, it's going to be Rick Gibson leading the way on the high side, but Minette is not letting it back. He keeps on digging it hard into 2.
Will Minette move into 2, try to drive it in deep? He does, around the outside, trying to get the run out of 4. Not going to be close enough. Give the win to Rick Gibson. He wins heat number 2.
And with that win, he's going to be placing himself 2nd place for the featured race. It's going to be a 30-lap featured race for these drivers, but the racing continues as heat number 3 now getting underway and set up for these drivers. I mean, Anthony, that's 2 races. 2 times we've seen contact and incidents with drivers. I mean, it is wild to see already the carnage that has been unfolding here tonight. Only getting ready for heat number 3 of these 360 sprint cars. So far, what have you been seeing?
I've been seeing a lot of aggressiveness, knowing that you have to finish in the top 4 in order to advance. These drivers are willing to lay it all on the line. It's only 6 laps, so you only have a short amount of time to actually prove yourself. And we also saw that on the inside line, it was a little bit of a scary incident. You get down too low, and you're going to end up hitting that inside retaining area, or there's a little bit of a dip where the track in turn 1 and 2 are, and that's what happened to the leader the last heat. He ended up hitting that and almost spinning in front of the field. In fact, did spin in front of most of the field. But tonight, for this heat number 3, we're going to get a rundown for you from Sam.
Scott Schiffer is going to be leading the way in the 57. Eric Keller, Grant Wesley, Timothy Desweet, I believe that is how you say his name, and John Brockman. And man, I just want to say the 69 of Timothy, thank you for sponsoring this thing with this Desweet. Desart, sorry, I've been missaying that's his name so much. Motorsports for sponsoring this race. We'll get your name right by the end of this broadcast. But these drivers, we're excited. Heat number 3. Anthony, these drivers we've already seen top 4 move on. There's only 5 cars in this heat. I mean, we'll see who makes it, but a lot of drivers have their eyes on Grant Wesley. He's always quick on these dirt races. We'll see how this thing goes. Anthony, it's all yours.
Green flag in the air for the first time in heat number 3, and everyone gets off pretty well as Scheuer brings it down to the inside. They're almost 3 wide as Scheuer gets a little bit loose. Now he's going to go 3 wide for the lead between Keller, Wesley, and Scheuer. Who's going to get it out of turn number 4? And it looks like it's going to be Scheuer trying to hold it on the inside, but Keller on the outside going to take it.
Yeah, these drivers are still running hard as they're almost making contact in second place. Keller, Wesley, they got to be careful there, trying to figure out how to get by this 57 machine. Again, only the top 4 get to move. Oh, his contact there for third place. Shuffled out of this thing is going to be the 69.
Yeah, he's trying to go for first place now. Keller trying to do everything he can to make that car as wide as he possibly can, but Deswart's right behind, trying to make a move. And
more contact.
Bragman and Scheuer getting some contact, and Wesley's hoping that something happens. So far, no one's ran into each other. All 5 cars still running in this heat. Down into turn 1 again. Looks like Scheuer and Bragman getting close again, and Wesley again. This is a battle for the lead also between Keller and Deswart.
Deswart's going to be putting on a massive run here as he's running in second place. He's got to figure out where to dig. Coming to 2 laps to go when they cross the line here. And Eric Keller's been doing a great job ever since he's gotten to the point.
Yeah, he's been making that car as wide as he possibly can. Right now, the transfer driver would be Wesley. He's running in 4th place. Scheuer trying to run Wesley back down to try and get himself into the next heat or the next round. But it's all Keller up at the front. White flag in the air. What can he do? Can he hold on? Right now, it looks like that Bragman's trying to go underneath his what for second.
Bragman's going to be trying to do something here as he's got to throw it into the inside, decides otherwise, trying to make it that outside line work, possibly a crossover, but it's going to be Eric Keller getting the win here in our heat number 3.
And everyone survived this race. More importantly, Scheuer is the eliminated driver. However, he will have to try his luck in a possible in the consolation race, see if he can get up to the lead in that race and maybe take a win in our B heat or our B main. But heat number 4 is about ready to start. All the drivers getting on track, and we're about ready to start another high energy, intense bit of racing.
Yeah, these drivers setting up for heat number 4 as they're getting underway. I mean, Anthony, we've already been seeing that outside line is the preferred lane to be on, but with every lap that gets placed on track, the more we're going to be seeing this track getting more and more lot drier, and these drivers are going to have to figure out what lane will be the best lane for them moving forward. But as we're getting all set up, let's do a rundown of where these drivers are. Anthony?
Heat number 4 will consist of 5 drivers, meaning 1 driver will be eliminated from this race also. Martin Karch will be on the front row alongside of Ryan Arbogast in the 2nd place position, also in the 2 car, starting in the 2nd place position. Michael Massey running in 3rd. Kyle Stoltz will be in the 4th position, and Brian Arto will be starting 5th. Again, 1 driver will be eliminated. Arto is holding back a little bit. He might be trying to maybe let these drivers race each other and maybe sneak underneath to try and get a jump on these guys. We'll have to wait and see, but we're about ready to start heat number 4, the final heat tonight.
Yeah, heat number 4, these drivers getting set and ready to go. Pace truck pulls up. We're getting ready to have our last heat of the night here in Knoxville. The 33 of Martin Sharks is going to be leading the way as Karch is going to be getting going to the 33. That pink and white machine getting a great jump. It's the battle for 2nd place as they're all on top of one another.
Stoltz, Massey, and Arbogast almost went 3 wide into turn 1. I think they might have thought about flirting with it more than once, but they have settled it out to single file. Arto at the back has kind of fallen off from this group, but he's trying to catch his way back up. He is the elimination driver, as it looks like Stoltz got wicked sideways out of that turn. He almost slapped the wall, but he keeps going now, trying to take the 2nd place position away from Arbogast.
Arbogast just blinked for a second there here in the dirt when you're running so close. That is kind of terrifying to see if you run into someone else's. Oh no! As it looks like that was Schultz that gets a little loose. Arbogast close to the wall. Both these drivers for 2nd and 3rd getting a little out of control for a second, but able to hold their positions.
Stoltz to the inside, trying to make the inside line work as he slides right up in front of Arbogast. He's got the second place position. Kyle Stoltz does. It seems like the more the night progresses, the more that inside line is becoming effective as the track gets drier. There might be some more grip down there. Might be more preferred to run down there, as now it seems like that inside line is definitely the way to go. As you see how Stoltz is arcing it in, trying to dive in the corners now. As he's got a confirmed second place. He's now pulling away from Arbogast, but this race isn't over yet. We only have a couple laps to go.
Going across the line there, white flag in the air, and it's going to be Karch in the lead. Schultz trying to make a move here in that white and orange machine, but just not close enough. The 33 of Karch is going to be making the way to the featured race, as well as our top four. And a great move by everyone here. Brian Ordo not able to get going as that 71 machine started back in 5th and stayed.
Yeah, and he really lost touch with the rest of the cars, and he will be the eliminated driver, but he does get his way into the B main, which we are about ready to start. The B main is for the drivers who did not qualify into the main race. They will get a chance to shine in our main before the main. Will be 15 laps feature, and we should see some high intense action from this B main.
Yeah, we're getting ready to see as a couple of the machines from this race. I'm looking to see, I believe it's the top 8 from this race get to move on to race with the guys in the featured race. So it's a lot of pressure on these drivers that are racing here. I believe only the 2 cars in the back will not make it to our featured race.
Right, and there's only 10 cars in this main, so there's be 2 drivers that will be eliminated. Make that one driver, Sean Bowers, never got off onto the track, so there's only going to be 1 driver not making it into the main races. That would be the 9th position once everything gets started, so you don't want to be running there at the end of this race. We do have 9 cars that will take the start here. Terry Bauman is going to be in the 1st position, followed by Matt Miller will be starting 2nd. Grant Wesley will be starting 3rd. Michael Massey will be starting 4th. 5th will be Robbins. 6th will be Hogue. 7th, Scheuer. 8th, Orto. And 9th rather, will be Dalton Collins. That is your starting lineup for tonight's B main. 15 laps, half the distance of the main race. Sam, what are you expecting in this one?
Well, just based on how these racers did in our last race, looks like Grant Wesley, the driver to watch out for, that 88 machine who's going to be starting in 3rd. I've got my eyes out on that yellow and black machine and seeing how that 88 machine can move forward, but a lot of hungry drivers out here. I think also Robbins is someone to watch out for, as he was someone that was up front and then got caught up in a wreck there in our first heat of the night. But 15 laps, we'll see who's hungry enough to get here and move and punch their ticket into the featured race here in Knoxville. Pace truck's off and green flag getting ready to go.
As they come out of turn 4, green flag is in the air. Bauman takes the green. He's going to try and make a dart into turn 1. It looks like he has it. He's going to try and take the lead. It looks like the inside line try. He spins it around. He can't hold on to it. He does. But he's going to fall down the order. He's now down in the 6th position. Give Grant Wesley the lead in the 88. He's starting to rocket away, trying to pull away a gap between himself and Miller. But Miller is right there going to the inside. He has not gotten away yet. This race is getting intense, though. We're only in the early stages, though. Everyone kind of single filing out. And everyone looks like they're trying to settle in. It's going to be a much longer race than our heats are.
Yeah, a lot longer. You've got time to make moves back up to the front, but we'll see who can be the one to make these moves forward as Grant Wesley up front. But it's really that battle for 2nd and 3rd place, where we've got Hogue, Miller, Collins all on top of one another, trying to figure out who's going to be in 3rd place.
It looks like one of them got loose. I believe that was Miller that spun it down to the inside, or it was Massey, one of the 2. They were trying their hardest. It was Miller confirmed that almost spun it into the inside retaining wall, but they are still running around this racetrack. Miller's trying to slightly lower line. He's trying the middle of the racetrack. It is producing some speed, but not as fast as the outside line is now. Hogue's trying to take that 4th position away from the 14. Not able to do it. The 14 gets a little bit squirrely. He's going to fall down the order. I'm sorry, that was the 98. Excuse me. That is falling down the order. Now Miller back to 5th.
As now everyone's getting single filed up. Now the gap from 2nd to 1st is 1.2 seconds as Grant Wesley is just pulled away like a rocket ship. That was a car diving it down deep. That's going to be Miller trying to make that inside line work. You talked about it after our last heat. That inside line looked like it was starting to heat up and maybe somewhere to make some moves. Just haven't seen it just yet. It's now Hogue getting challenged by Collins.
I think they might have wet the track down between the last heat and this race because the inside line not working as well as it did in that last heat. It's kind of hard to keep power down there as the track does look a lot wetter than it did. Miller is having some struggle, but in front of him, Collins is going underneath Hogue. He's trying to have a dart at him. Not able to do it. He's actually gotten into the fence a little bit. Now he's angling it, trying to get the run out of the turn. He is going to get that position, though. Collins going to take the 3rd place position. Now he sets his sights on Massey.
Able to make that slide job work. Dalton Collins, another driver that had a strong run last time these drivers were racing, 6th place in these 360 limited sprint cars. As it is still hungry drivers. Hogue now under fire as it's Miller and Otto right on top of one another, trying to make moves as no into the wall. That was Hogue.
Oh, that was intense. He's trying to try his best. He's trying to rev it in too far, and he couldn't quite make it stick. He's trying to do it again. He's not been able to make that line work, though. He's trying to get around the outside now. Okay, he's gotten better now. He's running all by himself, trying to keep that position away from Ordo, who is stalking him at the moment, but he's gotten that car righted. Oh, no foul, but Miller gets in the wall now.
Yeah, Miller, that's the 2nd time he's gotten into it. He's still hugging that outside wall, and he's just going to be struggling, backing down, losing a lot of positions, but also up front, Dalton Collins able to make the slide job work on Michael Massey, moved himself up to 2nd, and a great move by that 0-4 up to 2nd place now, and trying to run down Grant Wesley that has almost a little under 2-second gap between himself and the 0-4.
I don't think he has time to do it. There's only 2 laps to go, as Wesley has taken the 2 to go signal. Collins trying to run him down. Massey trying to run down Collins. Closest battle on the racetrack right now is for the, I believe,
4th place.
4th position, yeah, between Hogue, Orto, and Miller. White flag is in the air, though, as Wesley's coming around to take it. What can he do? He's got to deal with the lap car, though, and I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue for him, though.
Yeah, just follow the lap machine. You got a big enough gap, and coming across the line, winning our consolation, and figuring out who's going to be moving to the next round. It's going to be Grant Wesley and the 88 machine.
Wesley moves on, and I believe Terry Bauman is actually on pit road, so he's going to be eliminated from this race. He's a total of 5 laps behind everyone. So Scott Schroyer, who is about to be lapped, will move on to the main event here tonight. So you gotta be thinking he's kind of lucky that he was able to keep in front of all these drivers.
Everyone's getting set up and prepared to go. We have got a 2-minute warm-up time, so we will take a quick break. And when we come back, it's the featured race here at Knoxville for the 36th Limited Series Sprint Car Series.
Since the VFW was founded, their mission was really to look out for the veterans community, to make sure that our nation upholds its promise to really care for the service member, the veteran, and his or her family. There are several ways that the VFW fights for veterans today. The top services include disability claims assistance, advocacy on Capitol Hill and with the Department of Veterans Affairs. We also offer scholarship opportunities, and then also volunteerism. For me personally, when I came back from Iraq, my life experience was drastically different from those around me, and the veterans of foreign wars really spoke to me. The reason I would encourage veterans who have served overseas today to join the VFW is because this is your organization. The VFW is for veterans. Every generation, a new generation of leaders steps up in the veterans of foreign wars and fights for the veterans community.
The Veterans of Foreign Wars. No one does more for veterans. For more information on the VFW, go to ahctv.com/sacrifice.
Most everyone involved in sim racing always wants that edge or even make the experience a little bit better, or in this case, a little bit more in depth. Enter iRacing iFlag. iFlag is a simulation signal box with software designed by Peter Vostro. When you are behind the wheel in iRacing, your eyes are looking down the track or maybe
It's time for the featured race for the Astra 360 Limited Sprint Car Series. These drivers been doing plenty of heats tonight. They've had their warm-up time, and it's time for the featured race. 30 laps here at Knoxville. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Anthony McCurry. And Anthony, I know this is your first time really broadcasting here with dirt cars and watching these sprint cars going around, but so far from watching these heats, what have you been seeing?
I've been seeing that outside line has been king throughout the entire evening, and I expect it to be that way in the main event. I believe that they've watered down the track again, making it more slick and able to run the outside line with more speed. We should see that outside line be the dominant line tonight as 20 cars getting set to take the start of this main event.
20 cars, fireworks are firing off. We're getting ready to go racing here for the featured race in the 360 Limited Sprint Car Series. But this is only the first feature of the night. It continues on. After this, we've got the 410s firing off. Right after that, we've got heat races for them to figure out what they're going to be doing for their featured race. So the action will continue after this featured race. But for 30 laps, we get to figure out who's going to be the one on top tonight. Right now, Clifford Driscoll leading the way with Rick Gibson in second. But Anthony, let's run it down.
Third place will be Eric Keller. Fourth will be Martin Karch. Fifth will be Brian Beach. Sixth will be Jason Minat. Seventh will be Timothy Diswart. Eighth will be Kyle Stoltz. Ninth and 10th will be Cody Olson and Scott Munsgaard. 11th and 12th will be John Bragsman, Ryan Arbogast. Grant Wesley and Dalton Collins will make up 13, 14, 15, 16th will be Michael Massey and Brian Hogue. That'll be 15, 16, 17th and 18th will be Brian Ordo and Matt Miller. Then the final row, 19th and 20th, will be Steve Robbins and Scott Scheuer as we get ready to go green tonight for the main event.
And here we go. The Astra 360 sprint cars are green here in Knoxville as they're already smiling all out, sprinting around, trying to figure out where they're going to be running as they are all scattered in here back from third on back.
Yeah, they are going three wide in some places of the track. The track is very wet at the moment. There's a lot of cars going up to that outside guardrail trying to hold on to their car. There's a car that's gotten a little bit out of shape. It's a blue and white car in the back. I couldn't quite tell who that was. I believe that might have been Musgride. But we are racing again, and one of them goes around, and there's a big incident right behind us. We are under yellow flag as a lot of cars go flipping in the air.
That's Keller that went around and was flipping for a bit. Our first caution of the day, only on lap number 2, is out. We're going to take a quick replay here on the Flatout replay system as we're getting things situated. I mean, that looked like it started, and it did start with Keller coming through turn number 1 and 2 as that machine just got into the wall, made a little bit of contact, and around they went, and more machines just had nowhere to go. Everyone's so spread out that someone's going to get hit during those wrecks.
And it's hard to slow these cars down. These cars are so slidey that applying a little bit of brake could cause you to spin around completely and lose control and be part of it. But everyone looks like they've gotten out okay, but I believe Keller's got some terminal damage. I don't know if they'll be able to get back onto the racetrack, but everyone got through that incident pretty okay. We only saw a couple of them get caught up in it. I think the majority of our drivers are going to be okay.
Yeah, coming into this thing, it looks like Eric Keller, Musgard, Miller, as well as Dalton Collins did not get going. It's still in pit road getting repairs done. So expecting those drivers to still be in the pits. I believe that these drivers had a fast repair due to the fact that they were quick in and out. And that was for Keller, Musgard, and Miller as those 3 machines had damage and are back out ready to go racing. But like you're seeing on screen, these drivers have been running around with caution laps, and so far, their laps are not counting. We are on a system where the caution laps do not count. Only green flag counts. So these drivers still only on lap number 2 of 30 for this featured race. A lot of racing to be made as Rick Gibson leading the way with Clifford on the inside. Anthony, these drivers getting ready to go. Those pace car lights are off. We're going this time by. Pace truck is off, and green flag about to go.
We're about ready to come out of turn 4, and we are green again. Gibson got a whale of a run out of 4. He's going to dive it deep into turn 1. A lot of these drivers fanning out behind him. As Koch is going to be caught on the inside line, the Minette on the inside as well. There's a lot of these drivers spinning around, or not really spinning, but just gliding their way through these turns. As on the extreme inside line, I believe that's Karch on the inside line, trying to get his way around this track. I think that's who I'm on right now, and
yeah,
these drivers are whale of a run trying to get these inside line to work, as Karch is committed to that inside line, trying to make it work, but he gets a little bit sideways, not enough to really get the power down. I don't think that inside line is going to come in for a very long time.
You've got Karch on the inside of that pink and white machine, and then on the outside, you've got Clifford Driscoll that is just trying to make that outside line where he's practically hugging that outside guardrail and just not able to get the speed that he's wanting. As Minette is able to make the pass there, Jason Minette, but leading the way, Rick Gibson really feeling comfortable as he's almost got a second gap on his second place.
John Bragman got a piece of the retaining wall, and back there also Karch gets a piece of the wall, almost came down into Wesley. That could have been another caution flag, but we're still green. He's driving it in deep again into the guardrail. Wesley's going to try and pounce and take the 6th place position. He's got to try and get up. He's to get around this struggling Karch. Karch again flirting with that outside retaining wall. But up at the front, the 4th, 5th, and 6th position are under contest right now as Bragman to the inside. Oh, Stoltz, I believe, almost got taken out by Olsen as Olsen is being aggressive. That inside line starting to come in as Bragman goes up the racetrack and almost gets to the guardrail.
Yeah, last race these drivers raced at was Fairbury, and the one driver that won that race was Cody Olsen. Right now, running in 6th place, trying to make the move here on Bragman, and Bragman still holding strong on the inside, but all these drivers really trying to figure out where their best spot would be, and looking back, it looks like the 33 of Karch was able to hold on for that 7th place, and actually he's starting to move forward.
Yeah, that car has gotten a bit of new life in it as it's trying to move back up. It looked like it was struggling for a minute. He was flirting with that wall time after time, but now he's running in more of a middle line trying to get around this Knoxville circuit. Up at the front, though, 2nd place is being contested between Minette and Driscoll, and now brings Stoltz into the mix as they're all battling here for the 2nd place position, but Minette has gotten a bit of an advantage, but Driscoll and Stoltz want a piece of it as they come in through turn number 2. I'm sorry, that's turn number 4 as we go on to lap 12.
Lap 12 has been ran. Stoltz still holding strong, able to make that slide job work, but here comes the crossover from Driscoll. Driscoll and Stoltz almost making it 3 wide with Minette, and with these guys still rounding hard, they're losing the leader who now has over a 2-second gap, but he's coming up to lap machines and lap cars. Might be an issue here as almost contact made with Cody Olsen and Bragman.
Driscoll had to check up through that through turn 2, and that's why he's back here under fire from Bragman and Olsen. As in front of him, Stoltz continues to hunt down Minette for the 2nd place position. These two got to get back up to the front if they want to challenge for the lead, as Rick Gibson is taking off with almost a 2-second lead between him and the battle for 2nd. Kyle Stoltz is...
contact in the back. It's going to be Bragman being spun around by Olsen. No yellow flag. There it is.
Yellow is out for the spinning 4-car of Bragman. Everyone will go down to pacing speed, and that eliminates a huge lead by Rick Gibson, as now the field is going to be right back up together. I'm expecting another chaotic restart, but it looked like it was just contact that sent the 4 around. I don't think there's going to be too much damage on that car.
Yeah, not too much. Just Olsen tried to dig it in deep, and Bragman, the victim there of that contact, spinning him around, able to continue running, but yeah, still hard contact that's gonna have to come in and get some repairs done. But Rick Gibson did not want to see this caution flag coming out, as it is lap 15 of 30. We're at the halfway marker. And Anthony, these drivers been putting on a show so far. Again, this is only this is only the featured race number 1 of the night. We still have the 410 series sprint cars. They're ready to get firing up after this featured event.
Yeah, and if this is anything to show, we're going to have a whale of a performance later on tonight from the 410 group. And I think they're setting the bar tonight with the 360s. They are putting on one amazing race so far. We're on lap 15 of 30, halfway through this event. Remember, caution laps do not count towards the race. Every lap run so far will not be counted. So these drivers trying to settle in, trying to get their mind back for when they go back to green flag racing, as Gibson has got a hornet's nest of cars eager to pass him. Behind him, he's also got a lap machine below him. Now he's going to get the wave around, so he's going to go around to the tail end of the field. To set yourself up for the restart, it's going to be Gibson, Minette, Driscoll, Stoltz, and Olsen. That is your top 5 coming to the restart.
Yeah, Rip Gibson did not want to see that caution, as he had over a 2-second gap, but he was starting to drift away. Driscoll and Minette were coming with a head of steam. They were almost up to Gibson, as I think they would have got him there in the next about 10 laps or so. But we'll see, as they are on top of one another. The pace truck pulls up. Rick Gibson, Jason Minette leading the way, and we'll see the rest of the field all fan out going into turn number 1.
Someone got to the extreme high line. I believe that's Karch that tried to go to the high line, as he did not really get the best of runs. I believe that was Wesley that did that in the yellow and black machine behind Karch that went to the outside line. Everyone trying to fan now. There's a battle between Massey and Keller behind, but the battle for third rages on, because here comes Driscoll trying to hold his position from Stoltz. Stoltz drives it in deep, trying to make the inside line work as he cuts the cutback. He's gonna make it stick, but here comes Driscoll to try and challenge back at the line. It is Driscoll.
A great slide drop by Schultz, but it just came with too much momentum, as Driscoll able to make that pass as the crossover move. But here's the thing, Minette in second. He is right there with Rick Gibson, not letting Rick get away, as Gibson is holding strong in first, but Minette is right there.
Yeah, he's trying to get up to the back end of this car, and he is closing in the gap. He's going to have a run down into turn number 3. What can he do here? He's going to go to the outside line. Gibson to the inside. What's got the advantage? Give that to Driscoll. He's trying to diamond move. He's going from the out to the in to the out, trying to hold the momentum. Nothing seems to stick for that car at the moment. They're all trying to run different lines, but Minette's got another run into 3. What's he going to do with it? He's going to go to the outside line. Yellow is
Caution.
out, though. And that is for the 4 car again. He spun around.
And Bragman having more issues here today, as we do another FRN replay for these drivers to figure out what happened to Bragman to bring out this caution. And it looked like he was entering turn number 1.
Trying to see what happened. It looks like that maybe... Did he solo it?
He made a little bit of contact with the car that was in front of him, and I believe, as we take a quick replay back.
Yeah, that was. I think he did make contact ever so slightly. Oh, okay, somebody was in the wall. The car in front of him got into the wall, spun it down to the inside, and he just ran into him. And that's what brought out the yellow flag for the 3rd time tonight.
Believe that was. As we take another look to see where that is from a different angle as we prepare that up. These drivers having a lot of heavy working being done. That was actually the 69 machine that they made contact with.
The 69 of Deswart, who got a bit slideways going through that turn and up into the wall. He trying to actually avoid the wall, ended up overcorrecting and making his car a giant target for the oncoming 4 of Bragman. But we are setting them back up again for another restart. The pace truck is still got its lights on, so we'll be going around one more time, as that was a chaotic restart, and Gibson still with the lead. He's got to make his car as wide as possible if he wants to continue this way, because we're on lap 20 of 30. There's 10 laps to go once we take the green flag again.
Yeah, the Azra rules here for the 410s as well as the 360 machines is that after your third caution, you go single file restart. So that is what we're going to be dealing with here with the final 10 laps of this race. These drivers setting up. It is time to make your move. All the time that you've been waiting to make your move forward, it's time to start racking them up. Getting it ready to go. Pace truck is off. And it's going to be Rick Gibson leading the way there in the 38 machine. Green flag out in the air.
And he got a really good restart. He rockets himself away from the Hornets that's behind him as there's 5, 6, 7 cars all in one spot. Minet's trying to get away from Stoltz, but Stoltz is not going anywhere. He's trying to keep that car as close as possible, but Driscoll has other ideas. He's trying to take the third place position away. Not enough speed to do it. Now Stoltz to the inside of Minet, trying to make a pass. Can he cut in front of him? He's going to try it, but not enough momentum through turn number 2.
Rick Gibson's loving this. Keep battling as hard as possible. Stay side by side. You're losing time, and I can start pulling away. He's already out to a 1 second lead.
And he's going to try and increase it as these cars are still battling side by side as Stoltz again tries to run it in deep. That inside line not being able to prevail thus far as the outside is able to hold the momentum around this track. The track is still wide as up in the rough stuff. Stoltz goes. The track's getting a little bumpy up there in turn number 3 and 4. And Stoltz was bouncing his way around the outside line. Driscoll as well was bouncing around the outside line. The three-way battle between Olsen, Karch, and Wesley back here for 5th.
Yeah, those 3 machines have been on top of one another since the drop of the green, and they have not let up as they continue to race hard. As Wesley now under fire by the 57, as well as Michael Massey, who's back in 9th place. But all the action up front. I mean, this battle that once was for 2nd place, they are now starting to see it might turn into a battle for the lead, as Minet has finally gotten himself clear of any other people. It's caution in the back.
That'd be the 33 that spun around.
Karch having issues in that white and pink machine. We've seen him have issues in trying to make that inside line work. And it might have been there as, oh no, it was the outside wall entering turn number 3 where we see the hard contact for Karch here is on screen. That 33 machine's going to come in, hit the guardrail, and away he goes, spinning it around.
And then he collected another car with him. I believe that was Brian Beach. That was not Brian Beach who was collected. I'm trying to find out who that was collected. I believe that was Collins, maybe?
I'm looking back to see who exactly that was that made the contact there. As these drivers, I mean, running hard as fast as they can.
I'm not really sure who that was. I'm also trying to find out exactly who it was, but
I believe that was the 57 possibly there.
57. All right. That would have been the 57 is...
That was Scott Scheuer.
Scott Scheuer, okay. And that is confirmed. That was the driver who was involved. He ended up getting collected in this incident. We're going to stack them up again. Again, another single file restart for these guys. But,
I mean... we're going to take, as we're getting stacked up and ready to go, we're going to have a quick, another look at this. This is from Scheuer's point of view in the cockpit view. Just trying to run his line and it gets caught up and away he goes with that spin.
Now that was an intense accident too, and he just gripped into the fence and wasn't able to go anywhere and ended up looping it around. Almost went up into the fence and got stuck, but everyone's okay. Pace truck is actually peeling off now. We're about ready to set them up. Gibson's still the leader. Minet still wanting that first place position as we're back to green. Lap 25, there's only, lap 26, there's only 5 laps to go. And this time, Minet did not get a bad restart. He's right with the 38 of Gibson as he's trying to make a move on the outside line in turn 3.
Minet
he gets too high!
with Schultz!
And now they're both around. Minet's spinning up on his roof, and he's coming down back on the racing surface. Hopefully nobody gets into him. Oh, they all pile in, but oh, it looks like everyone's okay, though. But Minet on his lid in the exit of turn number 2, and that just took away what could possibly have been a battle for the lead for Minet as he got way to the outside line and hit the guardrail.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of those things where I was about to say Minet and Schultz looked like they were going to be having a battle, and Minet was not wanting that battle to happen. And worse than that, Minet was turned into a break right there as kind of got absolutely slammed by Schultz. And we'll see here on the replay. Entering turn number 3 coming up. Contact made. And and this white and orange machine gets to keep going. But you see in the background, flipping Minette, who really had a chance for a win there.
Yeah, he was struggling. Well, he wasn't struggling all night, but he was struggling to get through that turn. It looked like the car was bottoming out in the dirt. There was a few ruts that he was trying to get through and just dug into the surface and not able to do anything with it, and just went flipping into the air. And a tough break for someone who was looking for a possible win here tonight. The pace truck lights are off. We're about ready to go green on this lap. Gibson, one of his fiercest competition, has been eliminated from the running, and he will have more cars behind him that are equally as fast. Though as Stoltz was trying to get around Minette on that last run that entire time, he's going to try and get alongside and get this win. It's going to be Gibson, Stoltz, and Driscoll, your top three coming to the green.
Yeah, we'll see how these drivers can start to make these runs forward. If anyone has anything for Gibson, as Rick Gibson, since he's gotten the lead, hasn't looked back. Pace truck is off, green flag in the air, 4 laps to go as Rick Gibson in the lead, and here comes Kyle Schultz. We'll see if he decides to do another dive bomb here into turn number 3.
Stoltz was under fire from Driscoll and Olsen, but Olsen and Driscoll are battling each other, and now Stoltz sets his sights on the leader, and back there I believe Driscoll got in contact, but they saved it. They in the same spot. That's a rut at the outside line of turn 4, where a lot of these drivers are bottoming out. He's bottoming out again in turn 2, so this track has developed a bit of a groove up there, and you can't run that extreme outside anymore. Stoltz, knowing that, trying to catch up. We're still under green.
Still green, 2 laps to go. Once we've got Schultz inching closer to Gibson. We've seen Schultz in that orange and white machine already throw it down into turn number 3. We'll see if he does it again.
They're going back to the inside line. They're trying to make that line work. The outside line's basically useless at this point as Stoltz goes way outside. White flag in the air one more time around Knoxville. What can Stoltz do? Can Gibson hold on to this lead? What's going to happen in turn 3 and 4?
Rick Gibson, he's just going to hold on for 2 more corners here. Schultz tries the outside and a little bit too high as he brushes the wall. Might even lose second, but Rick Gibson crosses the line, getting the win here in our featured race for the 360 Limited Sprint Cars.
What a run that Gibson had. Got to the lead and never looked back. Made that sprint as wide as he possibly could. The fireworks going off here tonight. The 360 race winner, Rick Gibson. What a fantastic drive. Stoltz had a run, but couldn't do anything with it on that last lap.
And we saw Driscoll have his issue. Cody Olsen pounced on it, able to get 3rd place. So our top 3, Rick Gibson, Kyle Schultz, and Cody Olsen.
What a fantastic race as they line up on the start-finish straight. Man, you got to give credit where credit's due. Gibson found out where that car was best at, and he was able to utilize that car. He could basically put that wherever he wanted to and was able to make it stick, especially when that outside line went away. But Olsen almost ran into Stoltz at the last lap, at the last turn, but did not. He was able to hold on to it. But look at that top 3 there. That is a picturesque top 3.
They had put on a great show, as I know Kyle Schultz had some contact with other drivers, able to continue moving forward. Bold moves that worked out for him, but just not other drivers. We'll take a quick look at the results here for this race. Rick Gibson getting the way, Kyle Schultz 2nd, Cody Olsen your top 3, Clifford Driscoll, Eric Keller, Grant Wesley, Michael Massey. And as we go through the rest of the results here, I mean, Anthony, these drivers, it was a wild 30 laps that they had to go through, 5 cautions in total. But man, this featured race for the 36 series, it was nothing less than spectacular, and it just has to excite you for our next race.
It did not disappoint, that is for sure. And these cars were in the fixed league. Can you imagine when we get to the 410s, what they do? They are much quicker than these cars are. But these drivers, these 360 drivers put on a show tonight. Don't discredit their performance. It was spectacular racing all the way through the night. And Rick Gibson, again, the best of all the rest. He is first out of the 20 drivers who made it through all the heat racing tonight. He is going to be sitting nice. And don't discredit some of these others, like Clifford Driscoll, Eric Keller. They managed top 5 finish. They were also some of the fastest in their heats earlier on in the night. And a lot of these drivers like Brian Ordo, who had a bit of a slower car in his heat race, he was able to pull away with a 9th place position finish. So a lot of these drivers that didn't show much speed were able to be there up at the front, and it gets me excited, ready for the next run as we're about ready to start our 410s.
410's getting ready to go. They're getting wound up and ready to get fired up. 410 still here in Knoxville, but for us at FRN, we're going to take a quick intermission, get everything set up for that race, and we'll be back for the 410's racing here. I mean, those guys, this was fixed setups. Now they've got open setups to figure out, get everything set up the way they want. And man, those setups are going to be wild and they're going to be running fast. We'll see you in just a quick minute. All right, folks, you just got to see the 360s featured event, all of their heat races, and now it's for the big boys, the 410 sprint cars here for the Azra crew. It gets ramped up even more. We're still in Knoxville, but they're under practice here for another 5.5, almost 6 minutes. For these drivers, you can see they're on our clock. It's ticking down. That's as much practice as they've got left here as we continue on. We're just going to go to a quick side-by-side here with commercials, and then when we come back, heat number 1 for the 410 series continues on as these drivers put on another great show for us.
Since the VFW was founded, their mission was really to look out for the veterans community, to make sure that our nation upholds its promise to really care for the service member, the veteran, and his or her family. There are several ways that the VFW fights for veterans today. The top services include disability claims assistance, advocacy on Capitol Hill and with the Department of Veterans Affairs. We also offer scholarship opportunities, and then also volunteerism. For me personally, when I came back from Iraq, my life experience was drastically different from those around me, and the veterans of foreign wars really spoke to me. The reason I would encourage veterans who have served overseas today to join the VFW is because this is your organization. The VFW is for veterans. Every generation, a new generation of leaders steps up in the veterans of foreign wars and fights for the veterans community.
The Veterans of Foreign Wars. No one does more for veterans. For more information on the VFW, go to ahctv.com/sacrifice.
Most everyone involved in sim racing always wants that edge or even make the experience a little bit better, or in this case, a little bit more in-depth. Enter iRacing iFlag. iFlag is a simulation signal box with software designed by Peter Vostro. When you are behind the wheel in iRacing, your eyes are looking down the track or maybe even in the rear or side view mirrors. You may not notice or even hear when the caution comes out, when your car is damaged, or if you get black flagged, or even notice the car beside you. Yes, iFlag will point out the signs and tell you where that car is. It just makes iRacing more real and can help you become a better driver. We also offer iRacing iFlag Digital Pit Box. This small box is a great addition to any sim rig. With only 3.5 inches wide, it gives you all the information you need, including how many laps completed, how much fuel you will need to finish, what lap you need to pit on, laps till your fuel is empty, as well as weather and track conditions. It also switches when you come down pit road for more information, including what lap you're pitting under, tire wear, laps on tires, fuel average, and much, much more. To see more info, check us out today at iracingiflag.com.
Since the VFW was founded, their mission was really to look out for the veterans community, to make sure that our nation upholds its promise to really care for the service member, the veteran, and his or her family. There are several ways that the VFW fights for veterans today. The top services include disability claims assistance, advocacy on Capitol Hill and with the Department of Veterans Affairs. We also offer scholarship opportunities, and then also volunteerism. For me personally, when I came back from Iraq, my life experience was drastically different from those around me, and the veterans of foreign wars really spoke to me. The reason I would encourage veterans who have served overseas today to join the VFW is because this is your organization. The VFW is for veterans. Every generation, a new generation of leaders steps up in the veterans of foreign wars and fights for the veterans community.
The Veterans of Foreign Wars. No one does more for veterans. For more information on the VFW, go to ahctv.com/sacrifice.
Most everyone involved in sim racing always wants that edge or even make the experience a little bit better, or in this case, a little bit more in-depth. Enter iRacing iFlag. iFlag is a simulation signal box with software designed by Peter Vostro. When you are behind the wheel in iRacing, your eyes are looking down the track or maybe even in the rear or side view mirrors. You may not notice or even hear when the caution comes out, when your car is damaged, or if you get black flagged, or even notice the car beside you. Yes, iFlag will point out the signs and tell you where that car is. It just makes iRacing more real and can help you become a better driver. We also offer iRacing iFlag Digital Pit Box. This small box is a great addition to any sim rig. With only 3.5 inches wide, it gives you all the information you need, including how many laps completed, how much...
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the 410 sprint cars to be showing us how it's done. We saw the 360s there just a couple of minutes ago get done with their featured race. Now it's time for us to get ready and fired up for the ASRA 410 sprint cars here tonight at Knoxville. We've got 10 minutes left here in practice, then we'll get set up for our first heat of the race, figuring out where cars are going to be lined up and fired up here tonight. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Anthony McCurry. And Anthony, you got to see the 360s getting ready for our first heat here tonight. How are you feeling about these drivers and cranking it up to the 410s?
Oh, it's going to be intense as the 360s were able to pull off that much of a show that we saw in the earlier race. And this race, these races are going to be no exception. I expect that we're going to see just as much intensity out of these drivers, as this is the main league. This is the big, fast cars. We are going to see a lot of the same that we saw in the other race, where we're going to see a lot of drivers be aggressive in these heat races, because unlike in the other heats, the top three are the only ones that transfer in to the main event from these heat races. And there are a total of 6 drivers starting in most of these heats. So the battle for that first place, the first through third place position, is going to be just as intense, if not more.
Also, something to look out for is that the winner of this gets to finish for heat number 1. That is, gets to start on the pole position. So you've got ourselves 6 drivers at the ready: Brian Hogue, Eric Keller, Terry Blahman. And then it also looks like Michael Massey is not loaded in just yet. He's the driver we're waiting on before we get going. Brian Beach, as well as Byron Beach and Brian, excuse me. I'm struggling to speaking now. I'm way too excited for our featured race later tonight. Brian
Orto.
You know what, Anthony? I'm going to let you keep on talking for a bit, because it seems like I need some water.
Brian Orto, it will be in the 6th place position. That is the driver that he was trying to get out. And these 6 drivers will be starting. We saw a lot of drivers in our 360s that did not actually take the start of their heat. So the number of drivers that were going to be eliminated were already pretty much set in stone with some of those drivers. Also, 4 drivers were able to make it in on transfer spots in that race. Only 3 in this series. So, as I said before, the level of intensity is going to be much higher. Sam already went down through the running order. The track last time that we were running with the 360s, the high line was the preferred line. It was a wet track. You were able to slide it up to the outside line. It was also under the lights for most of the race. Now in the 410s, we're starting in the daytime, so the track temp is going to be much higher. The mud is going to be a little bit more sticky trying to get around this track. It's going to be intense for these heat races.
Yeah, these drivers going to be trying to figure out where they want to place themselves. The outside line still will be the preferred lane for them to be in, but you know that there's going to be some drivers trying to make that inside line work, to make some passes. And last race, second driver that finished second in our featured race, Stroltz, he's someone that made some bold moves. We'll see if we've got other drivers decide to do that. As Hogue, as Keller. Green flag out in the air, and we got a lot of hungry drivers here. Only the top 3 move on to the featured race. We'll see where they land as green flag up in the air coming out at 2. It's going to be Hogue, but here comes Keller on the inside.
Hogue is trying to defend on the outside line. Keller trying to make that inside line work. It looks like he's going to make it stick, so the inside line has got some life in it in these heat races. As Keller falls to second, Bauman trying to make up a position going into 3rd place. He is under pressure from Massey, who is actually falling back a little bit. But now Bauman sets his sights on Keller, who is trying to set his sights back on Hogue.
Yeah, right now Keller is just feeling the groove. Now here's the difference between the 360s and the 410s. 360s were all fixed setups. Everyone was running the same thing. Here with the 410s, it's an open setup league. The drivers have a way to tinker and really get the most out of their machines, and Keller looks like he is feeling good as the battling is going on back for that 4th place position, and that's not for the transfer spot. So these drivers are battling for not really for anything as we're coming to 2 laps to go.
Right, they're trying to get back up to that lead group with Keller, Hogue, and Bowman as they're trying to check out. They've got a healthy lead over those top 4. If I were them, I'd be content to ride where I'm at. We're coming to the white flag, and as barring anything happening, it looks like that those top 3 will advance as we are on the white flag lap in heat number 1.
White flag in the air, and it's going to be Eric Keller feeling good. It really started to slowly pull away from the rest of the field as the 0-1 machine going to get the win and the pole for a featured race.
Dominating performance by Keller. He got the lead early on and never really looked back as he actually pulled up about a half a second to about a second advantage by the end of the race. But we're getting lined up for heat number 2. It's going to feature another 6 drivers. And again, the top 3 from this one transfer on. This is battling for the 2nd place position in our main.
Yeah, no, this featured race is going to have a lot of drivers that are trying to fight back. And we've also got our last week winner of Ronald Piler going to be racing in this heat. Ronald in the 69 getting ready to be loaded into this race. We've also got some hungry drivers that really did not have the way that they wanted their last race to go in the 360s here tonight. They're probably going to want some redemption here as Jason Minette leading the way here during this first heat.
Jason Minette's one of those drivers looking for redemption as he ended up with a big incident out of the turn 4 in one of our on our main race in the 360s. A big issue, a big story now is the last week's winner, Ronald Piles, never took the start. He's never got on track, so he will not be starting this race. Meaning there's only 5 drivers in this heat race, as still top 3 advanced, but now there's one less car to try and fight to get to that top 3. Is Minette, Monksguard, who was not in our first in our 360 races, will be starting second. Kevin Fry, who also is a new driver in this, well, not a new driver, but a different driver in this league. Gary Peck and Isaiah Dowd. So really the only driver in this heat that came from the 360s is going to be Jason Minette.
Yeah, Minette was last week in the 410s, finished 3rd. So really looking to have a good run up here and someone that could be running up front. Now the car that's going to be starting in 5th, that's Isaiah Dowd, and he is someone that we're going to keep our eyes out because Isaiah is someone that won the championship for the 410s last season. So we've got last season's championship winner here. We'll see where he finishes up, but we got 10 drivers, top 3, move on to the featured race. Let's see where they stand as the pace truck pulls up. Green flag about to be raised, and green flag up in the air as they take off.
Whoa, and one of them got a little sun. I think that was Peck that got a little bit of a squirrely start. He gets run right in front of Drought, but they keep going as Muscard is now trying to get around Minette as they go through turn 3 and 4 for the first time. Looks like everyone's trying to slot in, trying to find where they're at in the race, and right now kind of in no man's land is Kevin Fry. I'm sorry, that's not Kevin Fry. I'm looking at Kevin Fry trying to battle for Minette. Drought and Monksguard is actually in 5th place position as he is way back there trying to make his way back up.
Yeah, Drought's going to be in 3rd place, trying to hold off the 2 hungry drivers of Peck and Muntsgaard. But Fry right on the back bumper of Minette as really Fry out here pushing it as hard as he can, running higher than a lot of other machines are off of exit, which is something to watch out for. But it's that battle for 3rd that we're going to have our eyes on as right now Drought and Peck right on top of one another.
Battle for the lead is it's a consolation at this point. It's actually for the second row or second place on the grid for our main race, so we got to keep an eye on that. But this is the battle to even have a chance to be in the main event. Drought is trying to hold off Peck as hard as he can. As Peck drives it in really deep, trying to make the move stick. He's alongside of the 96. What can he do? He has a slide job. 10 Drought coming to the other side, and there's contact between the 2 of them.
And then Muscard's loving this. The more contact that they have, this is going to be great. But this is white flag. It's time to make your move. Right now, Peck is leading the way for the last position to make it in. But it's going to be Jason Minette crossing the line, holding off Fry for the win.
And Peck will transfer in to the main event as he got around Drought and held him off. As those 3 are going to make it into our main event. But we get our sights set for the 3rd heat, which is going to feature only 5 drivers in this race as opposed to 6.
Yeah, this is going to be a hot and heavy race, getting ready for 5 cars, trying to figure out where they're going to be placed here as we're getting set up and ready to go. It's going to be Martin Karch, Scott Shiver, as well as Cody Olson, Kyle Stoltz, as well as Grant Wesley. So we got some hungry drivers in here. We've got 2 of the drivers, 2 of the top 3 from our 360 series in this heat. We'll see where they line up as we're getting ready for heat number 3.
Waiting for Cody Olson to get on track. There he is. And after he's on track, the pace truck should peel off our pit road. And we're setting themselves up for 6 more laps of heat racing. After this, there's only 1 heat left. Again, the top 3 will transfer into the main event as the pace truck peels off and we get ready to set them up for what is to be our 3rd heat race of the evening.
As these drivers getting ready to go, I mean, Anthony, it's a little different what we've been seeing for the 410s compared to the 360s. 360s, we already saw 2-3 wrecks already. So far, everyone's been pretty clean. There's been some contact here or there, but so far everyone's playing pretty nice.
Now these the open setup has allowed drivers to have a slight advantages. It's also down to driver's skill. The 360 series, you rely more on your individual driver skill as all the cars are set the same way, so it's really more or less what you can do. In the 410s, it's what you can do. Plus, if you have a good car setup, you're able to have an advantage over everybody else, and you can really dial that car into what your liking is, so you can feel extra comfortable in these cars and be able to put down some wicked fast laps. And all 5 drivers made it onto the field for this race, so no one's going to miss out. We're going to line them up, get them ready for this third heat of the evening.
I want to give a big thank you to Timothy Desart and the Desart Motorsports and the way that they've been helping sponsor these races and getting them more out there. Thank you to Desart Motorsports for these great sponsorship you've done for Azra and the way we're getting ready. Heat number 3, pace truck is up. And Kart's going to be leading the way in the 33 pink and white machine, as well as other machines getting ready to go. Green flag out in the air going into turn number 1.
Well, it looked like that Wesley got a little bit tongue-tied. They can make contact back there between Sawyer and Wesley, but Wesley gets away from all of it as he pulls away. Stoltz had an incident where they all ran into each other, and Sawyer, the loser in all of that, he is now back way behind everybody in the 5th place position. He's got to get a move on, but I don't think it's going to matter too much as he's so far back. I think he's out of this running.
A beautiful slide job there from Olsen, but it's not going to hold on his contact up front. Olsen, as well as Karts, making contact, able to keep on going straight, was now bringing Wesley into the action, but that almost ruined both of those drivers' day.
And by extension, that's bringing Stoltz into the action because he's trying to run down Wesley. I believe that Stoltz has got a faster car than Wesley does, and that is going to be a battle for the transfer spot if they make it up there. There's only going to be 2 laps to go once we cross the line the next time. Karch trying to hold it on, but Olsen has other ideas as they go side by side through 3 and 4.
Olsen's going up there where the track is a lot more refreshed and ready to go. He's trying to find some new grip, new action. And coming to 2 laps to go. These drivers are running out of time, but Olsen making that high line work right now.
Olsen has found a bit of strength on that outside line. You can see the tire marks. He's leaving white flag in the air. One more time around Knoxville for these heat number 3 drivers. And Olsen, it looks like he's gotten clear, and it's going to be all Olsen through 3 and 4. Wesley drives it in super deep. I don't know what he was thinking there, but Olsen takes the win in heat 3. And Karch and Wesley will be transferring in to the main event.
Cody Olsen in the 6th machine gets heat number 3 to himself. Martin Karch in 2nd and Grant Wesley 3rd, moving on to the next round. But that's what, we still have more racing action. It's heat number 4 getting ready to go.
And we're going to line them up one last time. This is our 4th and final heat of the evening. This is the last chance for all of the drivers that haven't run yet to make it into the final race. Again, same rules apply. 3 drivers move on. The rest go to the B main. Lining up will be Jordan Eder in the 65. He'll be starting on the pole position. Matt Miller will be starting 2nd. Timothy DeSwartz will be running 3rd. 4th and 5th, John Bragman and Rick Gibson. That is your starting lineup for heat number 3. And Sam, we're seeing these drivers, the level of intensity, we're skyrocketing in that 3rd heat. You can almost feel that the pressure was mounted for those drivers. Now it's even more mounted as this is their last heat. This is the last chance you have before we get into our main events.
Yeah, we're starting to see all the drivers, and these heat races, it's not based off of speed. It's all random where you get placed, and a lot of these heats are kind of unbalanced on where drivers are being set. So you saw in that last heat, a lot of drivers that knew they need to be hungry, fight hard, and try to be up front. As now we're seeing this is heat number 4. This is for 4th position on where you're going to be starting in this featured race. The winner gets 4th position, and our top 3 get to move on to even race in our featured event. But man, these drivers are going to be excited, hungry. Rick Gibson, we just saw him win the featured race for the 360 limited sprint cars, and excited to see where that 38 machine is going to be placing himself after getting a win so far today. But Anthony, I mean, this potentially is our last heat before we get to our consolation race, and everyone's hungry and ready to get going. 6 laps. Who do you have?
I'm gonna pull for Gibson. He showed us a strong car in the 360s. I expect him to have a strong car here in the 410s. I've got Gibson for this race as we're coming to the green flag. Green flag is in the air, and Eder got a great start. He's gonna rocket his way around the field as it looked like the Miller had a little struggle getting going. I believe he's fallen all the way back to the last place position. He was trying to hold that thing throughout those turns, and he got nowhere. Gibson moves up into third, actually battling for fourth now.
Yeah, Gibson trying to figure out where he's going to be placing his machine as he's rocking it on that outside line.
Whoa, he gets contact.
A little bit of contact.
He's
going to
go around.
Spins it around. Oh, no, Gibson. Someone we thought was going to be someone to watch out for, spun it around. Now it's going to be Ragman as well as Miller now battling for that final position to be marked into the featured race, as it's now 4 laps to go. I mean, Eder as well as Desart feeling good up front. They've got a nice gap between themselves and third place, as well as Bregman pulling away from Miller.
Yeah, he's got himself a nice advantage over Miller, and that he can basically cruise his way onto the main event. Now, as all these drivers gotten spread out, I inadvertently cursed the 38, give the old commentator's curse, as he spun towards the inside guardrail. He's gotten that car back going again. He's still running. He's getting some practice laps in because he's still going to be in the B main. But Jordan Eder has pulled away a nice advantage over second place, about a second gap between him and Timothy Deswart, as we're coming down on the final lap of this heat number 4.
And right now, it's going to be Eder feeling good out there, as Jordan Eder and that 65 machine got the pull to start out this heat number 4, and is going to get the win here, starting 4th for our featured race. So a great win for that 65 machine, as well as Timothy Desort, as well as John Bregman.
And they will be moving on to our main event. The drivers eliminated in this one will be Miller and Gibson. They will be in the consolation race, which is about to start. And this will feature be a 15-lap race. The top 8 drivers will go into the main event race. So that means that 2 drivers out of these 10 will not make it into the final race.
Yeah, it's marked to see who will be able to make it on to the next round. These drivers all hungry to make it in, and there's a lot of really good drivers in here. I mean, Gibson's in here, Piles in here. I mean, you also got Stoltz, and you also got Drought. I mean, there are so many very quick machines in here. Will all of them make it in, or will a little bit of contact make it to where they cannot move on to the featured race?
Yeah, these drivers are going to be all over each other in this race. This is basically the last chance you have to get in. Everything that you've gone through with the heats, it's let you hear you have one more shot. Only the last 2 drivers, though, not making it into this race, as all the drivers actually get onto the racing surface. Lining up first will be Brian Beach. Lining up second will be Isaiah Drought. That's your top 2. As we go through the starting grid for today's consolation race. Sam, we saw in that last heat that, you know, aggressiveness caught out some of these drivers. Are we going to expect to see that in this race?
I would think so. I mean, we've got a lot of very aggressive drivers in this field. I mean, you got Schroyer as well as Stoltz. These guys are going to be putting on a lot of pressure on everyone out here. Beach looking for redemption after the way that his 360 race went. But a lot of hungry drivers looking to get today's race underway. Finish in the top 8, you move on to the featured race, and that is going to be a lot of work just to get up there, as you got Ronald Pryor, who won last week's race at Fairbury, and is going to be trying to go 2 for 2. But man, it is a lot of work when he has to start all the way back in 10th. He just needs to work his way up to 8th, but still a lot of work to be made for that 68 machine.
And there's a lot of strong cars in this field. A couple of them, to name a few, is Matt Miller, Isaiah Drought, Scott Monksgrad, who got caught out in one of our heat races, Scott Scheuer even, Rick Gibson, Brian Ordo. These are fast drivers. Pretty much every driver in this field has shown some level of pace, and it's going to be a uphill battle throughout the entire race. But we're about ready to go green flag in the air. These drivers are down and away, and we're going into turn 1 for the first time. A lot of drivers getting a little loose, and that was Stoltz that stepped out. But everyone's gotten through the first 2 turns okay.
I'm not surprised. Kyle Stoltz has shown us that he is willing to throw that car in there into turn number 1 and number 3. So that orange and white machine, expect him to be just throwing it down deep and trying to gain as much as he can as other drivers. I mean, we've got the battle for the lead underway as Isaiah Drought going to be throwing it on the inside, trying to get by Beach.
Drought and Stoltz now into the mix as they are three-way battle for the lead of the race. And Drought is trying that extreme inside line, but Stoltz on the outside line is going to get around for second place, and now he sets his sights on Beach for the lead. Back in the 8th position is Michael Messi, who's got to hold on to that 8th position. The good news for him, though, is that he's trying to pull a little bit of advantage over Orto, who's kind of fallen away, and there's no sign of Scheuer. I think he might have had an incident because he started way back here.
Yeah, Scheuer looking like he's got some issues either with his wing or tire as he's continuing to just look a little off. Back in 10th place, 5.5 seconds back from our lead pack, but back up front, I mean, we've got a lot of drivers moving up as Pryor is just making a lot of big moves, just throwing it down, trying to make as many aggressive moves as possible as all of the racing action. These drivers are caught up to our top 3. Everyone has a chance here to win this thing. As
Whoa,
we're got 10 laps to go.
Around.
In the back is Pryor, as well as other drivers involved. That's Pryor and Monksguard involved. Oh man, a lot of drivers we were expecting to see. Ronald Pryor is going to be leading the way in 8th place, but under fire from Scott Scheuer. We'll see where these drivers line up.
This battle between Piles and Scheuer are going to be for the transfer spot. There wasn't a battle, now there is, and this is critical for some of these drivers as the track conditions have gotten to the point where it's kind of hard to run the inside line now. As here comes Scheuer trying to make a move on Piles at that aforementioned inside line, trying to make it stick. Will Piles get the run? Yes, he does. He doesn't have anywhere to go with it, and he hits the wall down to the inside. And Piles flipping around, and that's going to take him out of the race. And that's taking his chance to get into the main event out as Piles with a heavy impact in the inside guardrail. Now, effectively, his race is over.
And he just pile drives the outside wall, the inside wall, and Piles' day is done. Ronald Piles will not go back-to-back as he will not make it to the featured race. Disappointment has to be looming over that team here tonight for the 68 machine.
Gibson riding the guardrail, trying to hop over it. He kind of got a little bit of piece of it. He did not, though. He's able to keep it going. These drivers are getting extremely close to that guardrail. It's almost dangerous in some senses. Again, Gibson flirting with that outside guardrail outside of turn 2. I don't think I would be running that high line because we just saw what happened to Piles. You don't want to have that happen to you. You're running 3rd. There's no threat of losing out or going out of the main event now, but you don't want to use up your stuff either as the battle for 2nd rages on.
Yeah, you've got Beach as well as Gibson right on top of one another, and here comes Gibson on the inside. Gibson has already won tonight. He's trying to set himself up to win this consolation, but he gets close to the wall again.
Gibson again flirts with that outside guardrail. That's kind of, Droud's kind of watching this battle for 2nd going, yeah, absolutely, please do that. I would love to take 2nd away from you. As Gibson drives it deep into 1. Not enough to hold on to this outside line, but he does. He's made that diamond effect work, and now Beach is trying the same thing, 2, 3, and 4. It doesn't look like it's going to work, though, because here comes Gibson again to the inside.
Cross the line, it's going to be Byron Beach. He's going to get it done in the 18 machine by getting the win here today for the consolation race. It's going to be Kyle Schultz able to make it by, and he'll be the winner of our consolation. Our top 8 of this race will move on to our featured event. Now we got 2 minutes of warm-up time. When we get back, we will have our featured race for the 410 drivers as they, man, Anthony, we talked about it. It's only going to get more and more ramped up from here, and it certainly has not been disappointing. When we get back from this commercial break, it's the 410 Sprint Cars featured race for 30 laps here at Knoxville.
Since the VFW was founded, their mission was really to look out for the veterans community, to make sure that our nation upholds its promise to really care for the service member, the veteran, and his or her family. There are several ways that the VFW fights for veterans today. The top services include disability claims assistance, advocacy on Capitol Hill and with the Department of Veterans Affairs. We also offer scholarship opportunities, and then also volunteerism. For me personally, when I came back from Iraq, my life experience was drastically different from those around me, and the veterans of foreign wars really spoke to me. The reason I would encourage veterans who have served overseas today to join the VFW is because this is your organization. The VFW is for veterans. Every generation, a new generation of leaders steps up in the veterans of foreign wars and fights for the veterans community.
The Veterans of Foreign Wars. No one does more for veterans. For more information on the VFW, go to ahctv.com/sacrifice.
Most everyone involved in sim racing always wants that edge or even make the experience a little bit better, or in this case, a little bit more in depth. Enter iRacing iFlag. iFlag is a simulation signal box with software designed by Peter Vostro. When you are behind the wheel in iRacing, your eyes are looking down the track or maybe...
Well, it's time for the ASRA 410 Sprint Cars here tonight at Knoxville. We've got our 30-lap featured race. We've seen a total of 4 or 5 heat races. It's been a lot. We've already saw the winner of already today of Gibson getting the win in the 360 Sprint Car featured race earlier tonight. And now it's time to see who's going to be winning here at Knoxville for the 410 Sprint Cars. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Anthony Mercuri. And Anthony, we've seen a lot of racing, but are you ready for the big boys to finally take off?
It's going to be intense for sure, and we have been setting ourselves up all night long for this final main event. We've gone through the 360s, their 4 heat races, their consolation, and their main event. These, the 410s, 4 heat races, their consolation, and now we're here. The final race of the evening. This is do or die for some of these drivers, as we've got 20 of the best sprint car drivers in the ASRA series lining up, about ready to take the start for tonight's final main event.
We've seen a ton of heat races. We've seen the consolation race. Now it's time to see who will get it done. 30 laps are going to be ran here today. Eric Keller going to be leading the way on the inside for the pole position. Jason Minat going to be leading in second. Those drivers have been quick. They showed their pace in dominating fashion and during their heats. It's the driver in third, Cody Olson, who had to make some dramatic moves to get that 6th machine the win. And also in 4th place, Jordan Eder is going to be getting that driver there. And from there on out, I mean, all these drivers excited to see where they're going to be lining up. It's been a lot of racing so far tonight here at Knoxville. The track looks quite worn down. You can see by that defined black line, that's the dry spot on the track. That is the most slick part of this whole entire course. You want to be really, I mean, a lot of drivers are going to be having to work around there. That outside line looking like the best place to be, but we'll see who wants to throw it down on the inside for these slide job passes. But Anthony, it's going to be a fun one. 30 laps here in Knoxville.
Oh yeah, we saw in our consolation race that it was already intense. We saw a lot of drivers get into each other, beating and banging, using their stuff up, and now you've got nothing holding you back. There's no restrictions with anything that you have to make your way in. The pace truck peels off. For the final time tonight, we're going to get the start of the race. Eric Keller's going to lead them down. The green flag is in the air. We're underway, and already the outside line was in problems as one of the drivers went up and hit the outside retaining wall. That was Minot that got a piece of it, but he's got going again. Keller pulls away. Minot back in a second. These drivers fanning out behind them. It's intense in the back of the field.
3, 4 wide all over the place here. Coming out of 3 and 4. They continue to span out, entering these corners. Yes, it might be a defined black line, and you're starting to see drivers trying to get under that black line and on the outside. But for the lead, it's going to be Jason Minat making the pass there on Eric Keller.
He made a clean pass too. He's going to try and pull away from the field. A battle everywhere on the racetrack at the moment. There's so much going on. We can't keep up with it as Fry drives it in deep, almost spins it, and there's a car on the wall, and there's going to be contact back there. I believe that was Eder that got in contact.
So many machines. There were probably about 6 cars that had issues throughout all of that. We're going to have to take an FRN replay to see all of the action there. But man, we're only on lap 3, and carnage has already hit here at Knoxville.
I know that for a fact. Eder was one of those cars involved, and he got on the outside wall. I believe he's the one who started all of this, as Eder got into the outside retaining wall and then got mowed down by the car behind him, and then they just kept coming. And it's impossible to get these cars slowed down in enough time in order to miss these things, especially if you're on dirt. They just want to slide, and I'm surprised that a lot of these drivers were able to miss that, because that was in front of almost the entire field.
Yeah, that was 4th place where that all started, and there were multiple places where we saw contact, but Eder made contact with a lot of machines. We saw Drad also involved late in that accident, but man, a lot of heavy contenders that were stuck in the middle of the track, middle of traffic, making contact there, having to come in, try to use a fast repair to get back out there on track. But already, early wrecks, early cautions. Now for these drivers, we're only on lap number 3, and as you will see on our ticker, crossing the line, caution laps are not counting. It's only green flags that are counting, so these drivers can still take a breath, realize it's still a long race, and we can get back out there.
One of the things about these caution laps is it's no pressure that you're running out of time, and it's something that's unique to dirt cars. And you know, with these with the amount of laps we have, it's a generally short race in these sprint cars. 30 lap heat, but you got to remember these cars are sliding around so much that 30 laps feels like an eternity when you're out there. And the fact that these laps aren't ticking down, it's going to make the race even longer, which means that the pressure is going to be even more on these drivers. There's really no chance for you to take a rest. Even though in these cautions, you're always thinking about the restart. But speaking of the restart, we're about ready to come down to it. Jason Minette, Eric Keller are going to line up side by side as the green flag back out here at Knoxville.
There's so much power under these machines that when you get on these restarts, there's a ton of wheel spin, and that's what you were seeing in the back of the field. But up front, it's Minette and Olsen pulling away, but everyone's fanned out from 3rd on back as they're all trying to figure out where is the best grip. How do I slide down past the car in front of me, and where do I find speed?
Oh, there's some contact being happening, but Fry is actually trying to go 4 wide almost through turn 2, but they settle it back out. And Fry is actually making the best out of it, and he drives it way up the track, and he ends up almost getting into the wall. Everyone's still good as they're starting to fan out, starting to find their place, and wow, Fry again drives it in deep.
You've got the guys trying to make the guardrail work. Oh no, a little bit of contact there. That's Schultz that made contact, going to the inside, able to continue moving forward, but oh no, Drop making contact as well. But I think that was with Graham Wesley.
Yeah, and they did make contact with Wesley. We got pointed back in the right direction. Everyone saved it. We're still green somehow. It's a lot of these drivers flirting with that outside wall, and I think that was one that happened again. I think that Stoltz just overdrove it as Wesley overdrives it, trying to make that car stick.
Moving back up front for the lead as you've got Minette trying to hold off Olsen, but Minette's getting really close. He's flirting with that outside wall through 1 and 2, and it's almost costing them greatly as they're also coming up to lap traffic here. How will lap traffic get out of the way, or will they make contact with our leaders?
Well, we're about to find out, because now he's trying to get to the inside line. I think that's Brian Hogue in the that's running in the last place position. That is Brian Hogue down there in 20, so he's the last car on the track as they're trying to rocket away. There's a car spinning right in front of the leaders, and that's going to hit Fry, and he's going to go to the inside retaining wall.
Fry is out. Oh no!
Flipping end over end on the front stretch.
He's still more contact made as he's still on the throttle, and that's making his car spin around like it is.
And now he's going to have to go to pit road to get tow, and that's going to take him out of tonight's event. I believe what happened was there was a couple of drivers that got spun in front, and all the leaders had to check up and avoid it, and that almost took out Gibson as well, our leader. Wow, that was an intense bit of racing.
Yeah, we were on cockpit view to see what Fry was seeing, and he just saw a lot of dirt, and then a car just popped up in front of him. You're running so close to everyone. Yes, there is a button where you can press and it will pull away a strip on your visor so you can see clearly, but you're running so close to everyone. Dirt's being thrown up into your mask that your eyes are so dirty at most of these races, not able to really see what's truly in front of you until it's too late.
What was happening was Terry Bauman got up the racetrack, got into the outside guardrail, and then couldn't get off it, hit a little bit of a kink in it, spun around right in front of the leaders, and that took Fry into the inside guardrail. and he spun around right in front of everybody. Kudos to everybody who avoided that. That could have been disastrous for a lot of these drivers. But man, that's the level of intensity you have to have on this races. Brian Ordo has got some severe issues. That steering on that car is not in a good way at all, as he's on the pit road trying to get that car back going again. Something has happened to the 71.
71 machine on pit road trying to get it fixed, and it looks like he's back out there on the track, but still major damage. And for a lot of these machines, they're just trying to get out there and trying to just put in at least the best show that they can. But man, is it hard.
Oh yeah, for sure. And this race is not going to let up. It's not going to get any less intense. We're only on lap 10 of 30. There's going to be 20 laps to go when we take the green. Speaking of the green, we're about ready to take it. Minette and Olsen are going to line up first and second. Sam, we've seen them be aggressive on these restarts. What do you think we're going to see this time? Is it going to be any different? Or are they going to
continue? It's for sure going to continue, and you got to watch all the action in the back as they're going to be fanning out. As it's good by Minette, that gets a great start, but everyone else 3, 4 wide back here in the middle of the track.
Keller's going to go around into the wall, and that's going to send Keller around. He's going to save it. He comes back up the track, and they save it, but
Caution.
No. Yellow is out.
Karch is going to be the one that stays stopped in the middle of the corner, but a lot of action where cars were being bumped around. Another FRN replay to be given to you here, and Karch, the one that finally spun it around, but a lot of action there as cars were just bouncing like all over the place.
Yeah, they didn't let up. That restart was intense. They got side by side. A lot of drivers, we're seeing this track develop in a way where a lot of drivers are going to the outside wall and not being able to arc it in enough time, and that's what happened to Keller. He just drove it in too deep, got in some contact, and they set down the racetrack and collected a bunch of drivers. Keller actually saved that car, but I forgot who you said it was, but another one got stopped in the racetrack, and that's why we're under our yellow.
Yeah, Droud looks like he made contact there, but a lot of cars all over the place having contact involved in that incident. It's just a wild one out there.
Yeah, it's totally intense, and that level of intensity is not going to go away at all. We're only on lap 11 out of 30. We only got about a half a lap green that last run, and that sent us back under our yellow flag. We're waiting for these cars to line up for the restart. The pace truck lights are still on, but we're about ready to cross the start-finish straight. And once we do, we should be getting our 1 lap to go signal. Sam, another intense restart. You think that this restart's going to be any different, or are they going to have the same intensity that we saw?
This one's not going to be as crazy as we've seen before. All these restarts previously have been double-wide restarts due to the fact that ASRA's rules are after 3 cautions, we're only going to go single-file restarts. So we'll see how single-file restarts and if the intensity level continues on with the way that these drivers are set. But man, we've seen action up front. Minette's been doing a great job trying to hold off Olsen, but all of the carnage in the middle of the field is where we've been seeing all the intensity at its fullest. But we'll see if it continues on. Pace truck pulls off. Minette back under green here, as we'll see where they all span out. Entry turn number 1.
Well, that around the 4th and 5th positions where it starts getting intense up. In fact, move that back to 6th and 7th, 8th respectively as they're running up that extreme outside line. It seems like the outside line through basically the whole track now that's Wesley trying his luck on the inside line, not really doing much with it as this track has developed so much over time. They're trying to get down onto that less groove spot. They're trying to get up to the wet stuff, trying to make that pass up there because that seems that where they're able to get most of the grip. And you see in the middle of the track kind of struggle a little bit as Wesley's not having any speed in that middle of the racetrack.
Yeah, I mean, the drivers are trying to figure out where they want to put their cars into the walls. Minette, which is now bringing Rick Gibson into this and also gifting the lead to Cody Olsen.
Cody Olsen takes the lead off of that incident, and now they're running the inside line, trying to find any advantage. But look at Gibson around the outside line. We're under yellow. That's the 18 that's around.
Oh, Beach absolutely gets rocketed up into the sky. We're going to take a quick FRN replay to figure out where and how this car went for a wild time here. As Beach was running in that field, I think he actually got caught up with a car that was stuck on the outside wall exiting that too. You're going to see it here on the replay. As Beach is just running hard, car gets up into the guardrails and nowhere to go.
I think that's the 88 of Wesley that got involved there, and he gets shot into the inside guardrail. and that car just got stopped in the middle of the racetrack. I think that was Bauman that came in. I might be wrong. I'm trying to get familiar with these paint schemes, but Beach with a intense run through the back stretch, and that's why we're under yellow here tonight again for the 4th time at Knoxville. We're gonna set them up again though, and it looks like the Beach was able to get going again. I think everyone's still running.
Yeah, everyone has a fast repair to work with. After you use that one fast repair, then you have to do manual repairs, and that's why we're seeing some cars, after being involved in these incidents, come in, get a quick one-stop pit stop, and then get back out there. But man, up front, these drivers have been putting on a great show, and right now, I've got my eyes out on the car that's in 3rd place. That's Rick Gibson. We saw him win earlier tonight in the 360 Limited Sprint Car Series. I mean, those cars were quick. It was a fixed setup then. This is an open setup with a lot more horsepower in the 410 sprint cars. Rick Gibson got the win in the featured race earlier tonight. Let's see if we can go 2 for 2 as he's trying to win for the 410s.
He's put himself in a really good position to try and do it here tonight as he's running 3rd. The leader is going to be Minette, and 2nd will be Olsen as we get ready to put them under green again. We're going to go back to green on lap 15, so 2 laps from halfway. Pace truck is in. Minette gets a rocket of a restart as we're back under green here at Knoxville. Everyone's trying to fan out the inside line. Olsen trying to hold it on the inside line. Gibson on the outside line. Who's going to have the advantage? Gibson going to have a run down the backstretch, but Gibson in the wall.
Gibson running into the outside wall, but continues running forward, still in 3rd place, but he's got 3 wide cars behind him, has more contact in the back as they continue to push forward, but man, that was some scary racing there for about 5th place.
Timothy DeSwart was in the middle of all of that. He's actually going to rocket away, trying to use that extreme inside line. He gets a little bit on the inside line. There's a little bit of a hill on the inside where it dips up, and he hit a little bit of that, and now he's going to get this car slowed down. He's running 4th. They're still running 2 and 3 wide behind him. It's this race intensity has not gone down any bit as this battle for 4th has heated up to an intense level as someone, that's Brahman, rocketing it in to turn number 3. And we're under yellow again. I think that's the 10 and the 15 and the 98.
Oh, they are flipped over. Issues made for Orno, Beach. Oh man, some machines that were looking for solid days here today already out of this. Lap 17. We still have so much more racing to go. We just passed the halfway marker, and we've already seen about half the field having issues.
Sorry, that was the 01, my fault, that I was looking at. The 71 of Orto has just retired his car. An incident happening for him, and I want to bet that it was another intense run down into one of these turns and got a little bit too wide and went up into the wall, and that's what sent everyone around.
And we're looking back to see exactly where all this started off with, as I think it might have started out with, I mean, these cars just were driving so hard around one another.
Orto wasn't even involved.
No, I think he was already on the pits trying to get himself prepared. I think that was a misspoke by me.
Trying to find out what's happened here. We're trying to stack them up, looking. Okay, it was the 098 of Matt Miller who got contact by that's Isaiah Droud that got contact into him and got in. That was on the inside of the racetrack. That was contrary to what I thought. They're actually running the inside, and that just took a lot of group of cars back behind them as they all just piled in later on. That's what took out a lot of drivers.
As you're going to see here, that's exactly what Anthony was talking about. Trying to make that inside line work, didn't work, and drifted up. As that was from Matt Miller, you saw there in the 98. But now it's back to green for these drivers, and hot and heavy. They're already running up front. As Minette trying to hold off Cody Olsen, as well as, you know, that 69 machine sneaking up on these drivers as battling for 4th place.
Oh, there's a lot of contact back there, though, around the 8th position. That was, I think that was Schroyer. They got a little bit of contact. This could be breeding another one of our yellow flags as the pink and blue car of Fry goes. That's not Fry. That's Karch that went up on the racing surface, and they made contact back here. Oh, they're getting super racy, and you have to be. This is do or die. This is the last race of the evening. Up at the front, though, it's still Minette with a healthy lead over Olsen as Olsen's trying to drive it in. Wow, Gibson, speaking of driving in, drove it through turn 3 and 4, and now he's under fire from Timothy DeSwart in the 69.
Caution in the back. Scheuer, the reason for this one.
And that was in that group of cars that we were mentioning. They got a little bit too close together, and I think that's what did this one in. We have to find out what happened, but another yellow flag on the night. I think it's our sixth one of the night.
Yeah, Scheuer getting into someone else there. He also was into the outside guardrail on the backstretch before that contact through 3 and 4. But man, caution number 6.
Some tempers flaring, it looks like. I think that what happened is that Scheuer got down into, I believe that is that John Bragman? That's John Bragman that got some contact in. Oh, Bragman came down into Scheuer. That's what happened. So basically, I think that might have been some anger being taken out as Bragman came in, got in contact with Scheuer, and then Scheuer wasn't too happy about it. Literally rocketed it in and hit Bragman. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but those two were battling from turn 2 all the way to turn 1. I'm sorry, turn 4.
I mean, with how late this track has been developing, I mean, you can see it. That defined black line has been growing every single lap. The more it grows, the more that actually makes the track a lot slicker as the run goes on. So these drivers that are running in the center of the course, they will actually slide a lot more and kind of come to a dead stop at times compared to other drivers that will keep it on the outside or try to throw it in the inside. So it might have been the fact that a car stopped, like you said, Bregman being there, the innocent victim, it's just so much different mentalities entering these corners, with drivers thinking of staying safe and others thinking, I need to make as many moves as possible.
Well, you see that groove that's been cut out in the racetrack, it's gotten so big now, it's almost unavoidable around this racetrack, and that's why we're seeing a lot of these drivers launching into these turns trying to get to that outside line. And you know what, that might be right, you just misgauged how much you could sling it in and got up into him. But we're about ready to put them back under green. We're going to go to green on lap 22 of 30. And Minette, still your leader. He goes to get away. He gets a little bit of wheel spin, though. Cody Olsen's right with him as Olsen tries to put a wing underneath, but not enough to do it. And now he's right back behind him again, trying to make that position made up. But the battle for the lead rages on into 3.
And it's all about figuring out how you can make that inside line work without hitting the bump that's inside. A car that's moving up a little bit more, that's Rick Gibson, who is trying to make that middle line groove work, but everyone else really hugging that inside line.
Yeah, the race has definitely shifted. We saw a lot of these drivers throughout all the heat races running the outside line. The track has definitely changed over time as we're back under yellow again. That's the 088 car, I believe, that's brought out this latest yellow.
That is going to be, actually, it's the 4, Bregman.
Bregman and the 088. The 088 was gone backwards on the back straightaway. I think there might have been contact between the two of them, as I think it looked like that it started with Bregman.
Yeah, they both, it started up with Bregman making contact out of turn number 2 and then came down, and the 088 was right there. And rough days for Peck as well. Bregman, who both have been just struggling here for the latter half of this race.
And that's going to take Bregman out of this race. And, man, you got to feel bad for Bregman. He got a little bit too greedy on the outside line. Again, trying to make the outside line work. A lot of these cars have been arcing it down to the inside, but got a little bit too far and hit the guardrail. It got into another driver and sent him around, and I would dare say that that's going to take him out of contention for this win. We also didn't note that Eric Keller has gone out of this race. I don't know when that happened, but he is no longer running on the racetrack.
Yeah, I believe that happened about 10 to 15 laps ago. That happened pretty early when Keller was involved with, I believe, caution number 3 or 4 when that 01 was involved with that one, as well as 71 of Ordo. He's out of this thing. But it looks like the pace car lights are off. We're about to come to 7 laps to go, and we've seen it. These drivers, the intensity level's there. The track is too slick to handle, it seems like. As these drivers continue to have cautions here, only 7 laps to go, but we've had 7 laps already.
Yeah, and it's going to be intense to get up to the front. We're getting to the crunch time. The laps are ticking down. We're only going to have 7 when we go back to green. Pace truck is in. Minette again. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Minette again trying to hold off Olsen. Olsen with another great restart right on the back bumper of the 014, trying to get it on into turn 1. Look at that. That's the Schwartz on the outside line trying to, that's Gibson on the outside line trying to make that outside line work. And I don't think that it's paying off too much, as it looks like the Schwartz trying to hold it on the inside, but up at the front, Olsen still trying right behind Minette, as we got a slow car on the inside. I don't know what happened there.
I believe that's Peck that finally has gotten his machine out and driving, but he came out right at the worst time in the middle of the field. As they continue to race on, they seem to be still trying to file it out. Oh man, Schultz almost, he's coming down, almost a little bit of contact there. 4 cars all on top of one another, even more cars spinning around. Oh no!
What an incident back on the backstretch. Stoltz goes up into the catch fence, takes the carts with him, and that's going to bring on another yellow. A heavy impact on the backstretch. It's going to bring us under our 8th caution, I believe, and that's going to send him up into the catch fence. A huge wreck on the backstretch.
Schultz really had nowhere to go there, as we're going to see here on the cockpit view. I mean, Karch got loose and then made a little bit of contact with car in front of him, and just nowhere to go as both of them go spinning all over the place.
Just too little racetrack. There's not a whole lot you can do there. It's you ran out of room, and that's what happened. And man, you got to feel bad for both those drivers. They had fast cars too.
They really did, and it's struggles to figure out who's going to survive the rest of this race. As at the moment, we have a total of 15 cars on the lead lap. We'll see if that's the total when we go green again. We started with 20, and we have lost a lot of drivers because of wrecks that have happened. As we're getting all the cars stacked up and ready to go, leading the way is going to be Jason Minette, who's been up front, and ever since he's been there, has been doing a great job. But behind him is a hungry driver of the 6th, Cody Olsen, Olsen, someone that's looking for another great finish here, finished 3rd for the 6th 360 series earlier tonight. Schultz, who we just saw get involved in that wreck, he finished 2nd in the 360 featured race. And Gibson, who's running right now pretty well up front, he's right now, he was our winner from the 360 series. So a lot of drivers that had experience from earlier tonight trying to bring it over to this race.
Right, and someone who's actually kind of glad to see these cautions keep coming out is the leader Minette, because he's able to get such a good restart that he's able to hold that lead going on to the line. So if there's another caution comes out, then he's able to hold it, but he got a really bad restart there. A lot of wheel spin as there's no traction in that middle line as we're back to green. Olsen is to the inside. Does he use the wing? Does he not? No contact made, but Olsen all over the back end of Minette, who gets a little bit checked out. Now here comes the Swart trying to get 2nd place.
Schwartz trying to figure out, how do I get by the 6? But there's really no area to make a pass. All the drivers running the inside preferred line, as here comes Olsen trying to make that middle line work. As, oh boy, all the drivers scattering.
There's another lap car coming back on the track. That was the, I believe that was Stoltz coming back on the racetrack, but now we have a battle for the lead heating up. Minette is now under fire from not just 1, but 2 cars. As Gibson around the outside, gonna make that work. He's found a line up there in the rough stuff. He's trying to make that outside line work. He's getting the momentum off these corners. There's running out of time left though. We're on the final lap.
White flag in the air. You've got Minette, Olsen, Gibson, all trying to figure out where they're going to be placed. And it looks like Olsen might have lost it. Gibson on the outside, but it's Minette. Jason Minette has finally been able to hold off everyone coming around last corner. He's going to be winning here today at Knoxville.
What a storied run he had. He was able to get out front, able to hold on to it, and even though they had that wheel spin at the restart, he was able to hold off the advances of not only Olsen, but then Gibson coming up right like a rocket from 4th. He restarted 5th, got up to 3rd, and now he finds himself in victory lane here tonight at Knoxville for the 410 division. What a fantastic run we just witnessed tonight.
Jason Minette might have had a wheel spin on that restart, but somehow able to use that back wing as a block to hold off Cody Olson, as well as Rick Gibson trying to make that outside line work. I think if he had a couple more laps, maybe he would have been able to catch up to the 0:14, but just not enough time for these drivers. And a fantastic run, another fantastic race after a great race we saw for the 360s. The 410s did not disappoint.
No, they did not. A fantastic race start to finish, a much more intense race. These drivers had laid it all out on the line tonight. They didn't hold anything back. We saw a lot of spirited drives by a lot of these drivers, a lot of disappointment for some of these drivers as they drove it too much, but Jason Myatt bested this top 20 in the 410 division. Cody Olson, second place, was able to get himself into the second place position and basically never looked back. He was under fire from multiple drivers throughout that last bit of that last run, but able to hold on to his second place position. And then Rick Gibson, out of nowhere, coming up through the outside line, which we thought was basically a dead line, not able to really get any traction or any speed out of it, but he rocketed his way up to get a third place and a podium spot here tonight. Again, fantastic race by everyone here tonight.
It really was, top to bottom. Great runs by everyone as we're looking at the final results on screen. I mean, we saw a lot of drivers getting in contacts. I mean, a lot of cautions during this race, but at the end of the day, the win goes to Minette. And as these drivers are getting situated where they're going to be, we're actually, I believe, we're going to be moving some drivers up here and get some interviews with some of our top drivers. And overall, it's been a wild ride. But to start it all off, we got Rick Gibson. Rick, you got us? It's Sam and Anthony.
Yeah, I got you guys.
I mean, you won the 360 race, and then you get up over here, get a podium in the 410s. How's your night going so far?
That's real good. I mean, it could have been better if I would have gone back to back, but no, it was a real good night. We did some testing throughout the week to come out and run here with these guys. A lot of fast guys are starting to come out here, and a lot of the drivers are starting to get better. So just got to kind of step it up, and we did some testing with the Har guys, and came a little short of what I thought I could do, but podium on both races ain't bad.
Yeah, I mean, Rick, we saw that the racetrack was developing all race long with all the cautions that came out. It just meant that there was going to be more wear and tear, and the dryness came in. You tried to make that outside line work. Do you think if you just had a couple more laps, you could have been possible to catch up to that 0:14?
Yeah, definitely. I just told them once we came off, I was like, man, I should have just gone up there a couple more laps. I was kind of second doubting myself because I knew bottom was just hooking up, and I tried the top a couple times, and it was just kind of squirrely. But after that last caution, I just decided, we're just going to give her hell. So just held it open and tried to drive it, and I saw I was roping them in, but just like you said, probably just ran out of time.
And we were talking about how the track was progressing throughout the night, and during the 360 races, it didn't seem to really get that loose or that slick, and no one really used the inside line. In the 410s, at the end of the main event, everyone was on the bottom except for you. How much did the track change over this last main event, or even from the heat races?
Oh, it changed. I mean, drastically. I mean, totally different than what we were running from 360s, and I mean, you could pretty much run wherever you wanted on the 360s, but just the preferred line was up top. But from the heat races to here, it just slickened out. We're during the day, so it just getting hot and just got slick really quick. So I don't know. I was just trying something different, trying to get around the other two fast guys up there. So yeah.
I mean, Rick, overall, a great performance for you tonight, getting a win and a third place finish. I know you wanted to get the back-to-back wins, but overall, a great day for you. Before we let you go, though, if you got any shout-outs, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you guys for actually coming out and broadcasting this and doing that for Mike Massey and everybody over at ASRA. And I want to thank everybody on Hari Sports and all the guys back there who help us out throughout the week and just run and test and just have fun. And congrats to Jason and Cody there. They had an awesome race, so it was a really fun night, and hope to do it again.
Well, that's Rick Gibson and 38 machine getting a third place finish here in the 410s and the win in the 360s. Have a great rest of your night there, Rick.
Yeah, thank you guys. You do the same.
And also in the booth, we've got Cody Olson. Cody, it's Sam and Anthony. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Man, Cody, you look like you tried everything to try to get by Jason. Was there anything else you possibly could have done to get by that 014?
Well, I was kind of thinking there towards the end of going up top. I don't run a mirror or anything. A lot of these other guys do. So I didn't realize Rick was up there towards the end. If I known that, I probably would have tried it out. But I was just trying to play it safe, and I knew I was fast on the bottom. I was just kind of sitting around waiting, hoping that I could catch him on one of his mistakes, and it just unfortunately didn't happen tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we were seeing it on screen. It seemed like Jason was having issues on those restarts, wheel spin it every once in a while. How was it on those restarts? Because it just seemed like the track was so slick, and then also the longer the run went on, it was just harder and harder to get up to speed.
Yeah, the track was, it got a little deceiving there towards the end. You'd think you would hit spots where you'd have traction, and it just wasn't there. And then there's some bumps in a few spots that normally don't develop like that. But overall, I mean, it wasn't a bad track. It when it gets like this, it brings a lot of the talented drivers, to the front, and kind of really shakes the field up as people can make up ground. Picking the preferred line or the better line for a few laps. Versus other guys, but overall it was a good night.
Do you ever think throughout the entire race, because we saw a lot of different strategies being played by a lot of drivers, they would arc it in, they would diamond it into the corners, they would run the high line, they would run the inline or the inside line. Was there any point in the race that you felt like you could put your car anywhere, or were you kind of just following other drivers, where other drivers were going, or did you ever think about just launching it in one time and seeing if it would stick to maybe get around the leader towards the end of the race?
We were running the top there at the beginning, and we actually hit a caution where I was in front of him for about 3/4 of a lap, and it went back to him, and I actually got him on the bottom by a few car lengths, and then it got the caution, and the whole thing just went to the bottom. But I think towards the end I probably could have made a move up there, see how it was, but Knoxville's kind of known for getting a bigger, rougher cushion that you don't really expect what could happen of it. So, like a 50-50 shot of going up there and being able to hold on to it.
Well, Cody, for yourself, I mean, you had another great race here with second place finish. You got a third place in the 360. So overall, not a bad day for yourself. But before we let you go, if you got any shout outs, the floor is yours.
Yeah, definitely a shout out to you and the league for having us and doing this for us first and foremost, and then Jason and Rick on the top three, and then all the guys at ADM, Durco, Media House, Full Velocity Racing Network, Their Car Racing Gear, Sprint Car Insight, Ram Designs, 34 Raceway, WFO Race Engines.
Well, that's Cody Olson in the 6 machine, able to get a second place here in the 410s and a third place in the 360s. Great run on your part, and congratulations on your finish. Have a great rest of your night, man.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen. Thanks for having me.
And now we've got the victor of the 410s, Jason Minette. And Jason, do you got us? It's Sam and Anthony.
Sure do, guys.
Jason, that was a phenomenal performance on your part, able to get up to the lead and hold off everyone the best that you could. How was the track for you? And it just seemed like it evolved so much.
Yeah, it was, as you guys saw on the restarts, and I'm sure Cody was getting sick and tired of it. The restarts were just absolutely horrendous, and I could not figure them out. And I tried all kinds of different lines, different angles coming off the corner. I tried everything, and I couldn't do it. And I tried going to the top, and then Cody passed me on the bottom, and the cushion was just so rough that, I had the car soft enough. It was just a matter of, did I want to risk putting it in the fence? And I just got tired of doing it. Once he passed me, I thought, well, I guess here we go. Time to follow him on the bottom and hope he makes a mistake. But I got lucky, I guess, with that caution to let me back by him.
Yeah, I mean, as the leader and running the high side as long as you did, at what moment did you feel like you finally needed to just stay on the inside and stick on that lane?
Well, I mean, like I thought about it. I mean, me and Cody were even talking before the race. You know, it looks like the bottom has a huge moisture strip down there. It could go to the bottom, and but I mean, and being in the lead, you don't know when to do it, when not to do it, and you know, he had the advantage being in second, or even Rick did in third if he was in the bottom. I mean, seeing that I'm running the top and struggling and sliding all over the place, I'd probably try the same thing. But I guess until you get past, it's hard to give up your line. I felt like I had a boat anchor behind me on the top, but when he passed me, I said, well, I guess it's time to move down.
And when you did, you were able to rocket away, and not really. What I should say, rocket away. You were able to hold that inside line very well and hold off any of the other charges that were coming up through the field. And uh, speaking of that, it's just because the track changed so much, and you touched on it. Is that do you think that maybe those yellows that came out kind of helped you a little bit because it was able to get your mind ready to set up for those turns going in? So maybe you would be able to better figure out where you could put your car in order to hold off the charging cars behind you.
I think the cautions. I didn't want any of them, to be honest with you. Once it went all to the bottom, I told myself, I said, give me no more cautions, because it was so small down there. You had to hit it perfect every time, and you know, if you missed, it was just wheel spin galore. And so I mean, I hit it, you know, perfect for probably 2 or 3 laps, and I put I don't know, half a second to almost a second on Cody, and then we get a yellow, and then it was 3/10 almost the entire time. And I I told him, we had what, 2 laps to go. I said, well, I'm gonna apologize for this restart ahead of time, because I know it's not gonna be good. I couldn't figure it out. I don't know what the deal was.
Well, I mean, you still were able to hold on and stay in the lead, and that's what matters the most. A great run there, Jason. One last question before we give you the floor. I mean, we saw there in the 360s, you really didn't have the run that you wanted. Was that motivation for you to come into the 410s to get this win?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Rick was leading that the whole time. He was definitely better than me in the slick. I could catch him. I mean, just like I said earlier, it's when you're in second, you can see where they're running and try something different. And that's what I was doing, and I'd catch him, but I just couldn't get by him, because you know, without sliding into him or just running over him, it's hard to pass when it's a slider line like that. So you know, I had the advantage in the first race, and of course Cody and him had the advantage in this race. So it's definitely a motivation to end your race like that with 2 or 3 laps to go. I mean, I'm not blaming anybody for it. It is what it is. But I mean, it's a tough track. So when you end your race like that, it's 2 weeks in a row that I've ended it early, and been in. I was leading it last week and did it, and now I was in second this week and did it. So hopefully one of these times I'll finish a 360 race.
Well, hopefully you do. But before we let you go, the floor is yours, Jason.
Yeah, well, thanks, you guys. First of all, you guys in the booth, and Mike and the series run putting this on. I know these guys. It takes a lot of work to do these, and you can't thank them enough for taking time out of their day to do it. I know they got like 4 different classes they do, and then they're going to a race after this again. So big thanks to those guys. And you know, Cody and Ryan didn't make it tonight. Everybody at 8 a.m. If it wasn't a teammate behind me, I guarantee you I wouldn't be talking to you right now. But you know, he was awfully gentle with the brake pedal today. So all the sponsors we got: 34 Raceway, Sprint Car Insider, Dirt Car Racing Gear, WFO Race Engines, and everybody else that helps us testing and whatnot. Big thanks to them.
Well, that's Jason Minette, and I gotta say, a fantastic run for the finishing off these 410s. It was an amazing race for us to watch and get the win here at Knoxville. And have a great rest of your night there, Jason.
All right, thanks, guys. You too.
Well, Anthony, I mean, overall, both series put on amazing shows, and that just was a great way to cap it off.
Absolutely, it was. We saw a fantastic first bit of heats in the 360 division, and then they had a fantastic main event, which saw heavy action start to finish, and the same thing that happened in the main with the 410s. Throughout all the heats, we saw the level of intensity creep up, and then we got to the main event. Did not disappoint. tons of action everywhere. The track developed so much over the run, and it really brought about, you had to figure out what strategy you needed in order to win this race. And we saw the best of them being Jason Minette tonight. He best 20 of the 410 division drivers, and next time that we see these dirt cars out on this racetrack, it should be the same.
It really should. These guys continue on with these drivers. They're going to be next week at Lumaland, and they're going to be putting on a great show there as well. Can't wait to see more of the action. But Anthony, thanks again for being up in the booth with me.
It's always a pleasure, Sam, and it's becoming a bit of a regular occurrence to have you and I in the booth together, and looking forward to all the races that we're doing next week. And again, I want to thank FRN for giving me this opportunity.
Speaking of races to be coming, we've got more action here on the FRN network. We've got ourselves Slipstream Racing racing tomorrow night. That's our F1 2020 league, and they're going to Canada, where we've been seeing Bronson Stafford dominating there. We're expecting to see even more racing action and more contenders coming in. Heard that Patrick Young is actually going to be joining the league, and someone that could be contending with that AlphaTauri team. But more racing action if you're not done with tonight. FRN actually has another broadcast that's going on right now. It's the Kicking Asphalt Racing guys, as they've got the MPI Cup Series racing at Indianapolis. Their racing is still going on right now as they're about to hit the halfway marker. So if you want to see even more great action, hop over there to that broadcast. But for us here in Knoxville, for the Azra guys, it's been a blast watching dirt racing here in Knoxville for the 360s and the 410s. For myself, Sam Dyer, and Anthony McCurry, thank you for watching another presentation of the Flatout Racing Network. And have a great rest of your night.